top 10 tanks that are already passed for the devs for consideration, but are not added yet and should be added right now, or should have been added a long time ago. Hello guys, once again, it's Matt. Thank you all the members of the patrons. Make sure to subscribe and let's get into it. So I have another top 10 list. Today we're going to talk about the top 10 tanks that I researched that were already passed to developers to actually be added, but they never got added. So of course it doesn't mean that they will, but it's cool that they're considering it, and I think these 10 with some honorable mentions at the end should be added as soon as possible. By the way, just a small disclaimer, there are always vehicles that I miss over here that maybe you think it's a better vehicle that should be added or not, and I don't think so. So just bear that in mind, that it's my personal top 10 list. Of course, if you would do one as well, you would probably have a different list, okay? But yeah, let's go. On 10th place, we have the tracked Rapier. This is an AA system for the UK from the Cold War. I really don't understand why this thing wasn't added yet. Yes, the missile should not be the best thing ever, but it should be good enough so that it can actually fire at some helicopters, aircraft in general, and shoot them down. It is basically radar guided, and yeah, it's a very interesting system, pretty modern for the time, and with its tracked version it can actually be just its own vehicle. Of course, this missile system was actually just a towed vehicle system, those vehicles that need to be having multiple vehicles, but they did one version with a tracked system, so in a vehicle itself, right? So it would be very cool to see this vehicle. And yeah, not the greatest missile ever, but still it would be a mid-tier kind of AA system in the Cold War there. The next one, the 9th one, we have the BTR-90. Yes, I already talked about this vehicle a lot. But yeah, the BTR-90 would be the evolution of the BTR-80, using basically a turret from the BMP-2. It's not really that, but the cannon is the same, and the ATGM would be the same as the BMP-2, okay? So it would be a very interesting BTR. Honestly, don't know why they didn't add it yet. It's a vehicle that every Russian main and everybody loves this vehicle from Battlefield and other franchises, right? So yeah, should be added. And along with the BTR, of course, in 8th position, the LAV-25A2. This was also added for consideration a very long time ago, and it was never added. The LAV-25 would be the LAV that we have in the game with the AD version, but of course the normal APC AV version of it, right? So you would have the normal turret with cruise inside of it, and with a 25mm gun. Of course, there are other versions that were passed to consideration, but I think this one would be the main one that should be added first. On 7th position, we have an Abrams, but not only one, we have 2 Abrams. One of them was actually added a very long time ago in the passed for considerations, but it never got added, and it's the M1A2 SEP V3. It wouldn't be too different from the V2, but of course it would be an improvement, and of course with that, even China can receive one in the Chinese tech tree with the M1A2T, which is the exported model of the SEP V3 for Taiwan, right? So these 2 M1A2s probably should be added. I mean, the Chinese one, for the Chinese tech tree, it's kind of okay, maybe not, I don't know. Like, they already added tanks for that, so why not? People don't like sometimes when they add NATO tanks for certain tech trees, but still, I think they use this tank. They are using this, starting to use this tank, so why not, right? And the SEP V3 would obviously be for the US as well. On 6th position, we have the BRDM-2. It was actually included for passed for consideration as with ATGM launchers. Remember, this vehicle, it's basically like an APC, something like that, that can actually use a KPVT gun, if I'm not mistaken, the 14.5mm. And but the turret can be actually different. It's a very lightly armored vehicle, with just 4 wheels. And it can actually use ATGMs like the Malyutka, or even better ATGMs like the Concours and stuff. So it would be a very cool vehicle, very low armor, so it would be very easy to kill, no machine gun whatsoever. but an ATGM launcher, right? And of course, I didn't find them talking about it, but I would include here the Strela 2 launcher as well, which they use the BRDM for as well. So the BRDM 2 for, you know what I mean. So yeah, it would be an AA system as well with IR guided missiles. For the fifth one, we have the Merkava, but not any Merkava, a Merkava with the Lahat missile, a semi-active laser-guided missile that I'm pretty sure some of the Merkavas that we have in the game already could fire this missile, so this could even be just a modification. But if they want to, just add one with the Lahat if they think it's too OP. I just think that, just like the Soviet tanks and some NATO tanks as well, if they can fire an ATGM, they should, right? I mean, the Lahat can be minorly OP, maybe, but at the same time, I think the Merkava, it's a tank that, you know, it doesn't have a lot of armor. It's not the most mobile tank ever, so it's not like it's OP, right? So having the Lahat would only help it and probably not bring anything too crazy. Although the Lahat missile is pretty amazing. On fourth position, we have another American tank that I think it's very interesting. It is the M6 Linebacker. This is a Bradley, normal Bradley, an M2, okay? But instead of having ATGM launchers, it actually has Stinger launchers. So yes, it would be a Bradley that has an AA system. So that would be very cool. I think in the Bradley line or even in the AA line, it would be a different flavor of a Bradley. You know, it would be kind of weaker than the other ones, because if you played with the Bradley, you know how you know, important the tow launchers are for that tank. You know, without them, it can suffer sometimes facing MBTs. So it depends on where they want to add it, you know, but it would be more or less an AA system. So bear that in mind. But it would be very cool, wouldn't it? Then we have another one that is kind of a modification to a tank, but they will probably add it as a new tank or even event tank or anything like that. Would be the Type 10 with a prototype hard kill APS. This thing is not actually in service right now. It's in its prototype phase, but I still think that it would be very cool to see an APS system in a tank that has already not the greatest armor package ever, you know. So it would help the Japanese, especially in the highest ranks, with the number of Type 10s they can actually add onto it. And we have the Challenger 3, so it's not like they don't want to add prototypes or anything like that, or even the Black Knight, right? So adding another Type 10 with an APS could be actually very interesting, seeing that they need more tanks to spawn in, and basically a tank that would already be the same that they have, but with a plus, which is a hard kill APS, right? And then the top two that we have here, I think this is too cool to not add, you know. There was once a M42 with a radar package. So that would be very cool, right? I mean, it's just a very old AA system. I know it's not the greatest thing ever and stuff. The Duster is problematic to say the least, but it would be cool, wouldn't it? Like, it's a M42 with a radar. Like, what? I mean, it's kind of a prototype. I don't think you ever saw proper service. But still, it is it is pretty interesting, I think, and it should be added, in my opinion. And the first one, the tank that I think should be added, top one for the Pass It to developers, which brings a lot of things to the table, would be the Hyundai's K2 tank. Yes, the Korean MBT, similar to some of the other NATO MBTs that we already have in game. And why, Matt? Why are you talking about this? Because I still believe that they need to add a tech tree for Korean vehicles. I don't know if it's a sub tree. I don't know if it's their own tech tree. I would like to see them as their own tech tree with South and North together. Controversial, yes, but I still believe that it's an important enough nation to actually receive a tech tree in the game. And the K2 should be added, no matter what. I think it's an amazing, interesting tank that should be added, no matter if it's a sub tree or its own tree, or if it's just an event vehicle or whatever. I still believe that the K2 is a very interesting tank that should be added. And final but not least, Honorable mentions. I have two tanks over here. We have the BTR-80 Cleaver, which would be a BTR-80 that we already have in the game, but with a 30mm 2A72. So I think it's the same gun, isn't it? I think it is, right? But it has a thermal imaging system, a laser rangefinder, and 4 Cornet launchers. So it would be a very cool vehicle as a premium or something like that. I mean, it would be still very easy to kill. Very similar to something like the BTR-90, but a little bit different. And last but not least, another honorable mention would be the ZBD 86GA, which is basically the Chinese BMP-2, right? It would be a BMP-1 that would be upgraded to use a cannon very similar to the BMP-3, the BMP-2, sorry. So a 30mm and even ATGMs like the HJ73, which is basically the Malyutka, right? So a modified version of that or something, right? But still, it would be very, very cool. It's a tank that is basically a BMP-2 for China, and yeah, I just think that it would be cool. It even has a thermal imaging system on the gunner itself. So yeah, very, very cool BMP-2 for China. And basically this is it, guys. I know it's a lot of tanks, but let me know in the comments what is your opinion on this matter, and what is your vehicle that was passed to the developers for consideration that you wanted to be added but wasn't really added until now. See you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, and bye.